Welcome to the Astro Guy podcast. I'm not an expert, I'm an amateur like you. I'm here to learn and here to teach. So let's enjoy the ride together. Carpe Noctem, seize the night.
Welcome to the Astro Guy podcast. I'm your host, Wayne Zuhl, and this is a very special episode. On Monday, August 29th, 2022, at 8:33 a.m. Eastern Time, Artemis 1 is scheduled to lift off on its maiden voyage to the Moon and back to Earth. What is Artemis? NASA's Artemis program is designed to eventually send humans back to the Moon to explore and to eventually establish a base there for a future mission to Mars. This will be the first integrated test of NASA's deep space exploration systems. This is comprised of the Orion Crew Capsule, the Space Launch System or SLS Rocket, and the ground control systems at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Artemis 1 will be uncrewed, by humans anyway. We'll talk about the quote passengers, unquote, in a bit. The primary goals of the mission are to test the systems that will provide the foundation for humans exploring deep space, extending human existence to the Moon and beyond. Some interesting facts about Artemis 1 and the SLS. The rocket stands 323 feet tall, making it taller than the Statue of Liberty. At launch, the SLS weighs more than 5.74 million pounds. The rocket, with the solid rocket boosters, will produce an astonishing 8.8 million pounds of thrust, making it the most powerful rocket ever launched. With all that thrust, it can launch more than 209,000 pounds of payload into low Earth orbit. The main propulsion system is provided by its 4 RS-25 engines. All 4 engines on Artemis 1 have all been to space already, as engines on the space shuttle. In fact, all of them have been on multiple space shuttles. The exhaust from those engines is superheated water vapor. There are more than 45 miles of cabling in just the core stage of the rocket. The liquid hydrogen tank shrinks by about 6 inches when full due to the extremely low temperature of the fuel. The liquid oxygen tank, which is smaller, shrinks by less than 2 inches. The Orion Crew Module is 11 feet tall and 16.5 feet in diameter. It's designed to carry 4 people into deep space, along with associated equipment. Orion has the largest heat shield ever built, and it will need it, as when it hits the Earth's atmosphere after lunar orbit, it will be traveling at 25,000 miles per hour. The Crawler Transporter is a huge vehicle that moves the entire launch pad and rocket to its launch position. The Crawler itself weighs 6.6 million pounds and has a top speed of 1 mile per hour. On board Artemis 1 will be 10 CubeSats that will deploy on the way to the Moon. There will be 3 Moonikins, NASA speak for mannequins, on board. Commander Moonikin Campos will be wearing an Orion Crew survival suit and will have sensors to measure the effects of vibration, acceleration, and deceleration, along with radiation that future astronauts will experience. The other 2 Moonikins are named Helga and Zohar. They are both just heads and torsos made of material that simulates bones, soft tissues, and organs of women. They each have more than 5,000 sensors to measure radiation exposure. Helga has no protective gear, while Zohar is outfitted with a radiation protection vest called AstroRad. After launch, Artemis 1, once it's in Earth orbit, will make orbital corrections by burning the engine on the service module, raising the height of its orbit. It will then fire a second time, increasing the speed of the craft to escape Earth's gravity as it begins a 4-day coast to the moon. Once in lunar orbit, Orion will travel in a very elongated orbit, taking it more than 280,000 miles from Earth, more than 1,000 times further than the space station, and further than any craft to carry humans will have ever traveled. It will make 2 full orbits around the moon, with a near pass of 60 miles over the lunar surface. The lunar phase of the mission will last about a month. 42 days after launch, Orion will splash down in the Pacific Ocean, just off the coast of San Diego, where it will be recovered by a specially designed Navy ship. After what will hopefully be a successful mission, Artemis 2 will launch in 2024. It will be similar to Artemis 1, but it will be crewed with live humans. Artemis 3 is scheduled to launch in 2025 and will perform the first crewed lunar landing and extravehicular activities on the moon since 1972, when Apollo 17 went to the moon. On August 28th, the day before liftoff, NASA will launch a website where you can track the progress of the mission in real time. I plan on watching the launch and will be paying close attention to the mission, following its progress. You can watch the launch and most of the mission on NASA TV. Just go to nasa.gov for coverage. Most major news outlets will cover the launch and the landing. Make sure to keep following the Astro Guy podcast, as we have a very special episode coming up that's all about the moon. Well, that's all for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that you found our time together to be fun and helpful. As always, if you have questions or episode suggestions, please email us at astroguypodcast@gmail.com or leave us a text or a voicemail at 973-404-0380. If you're not already a member, please join the Astro Guy podcast group on Facebook. You'll find other members, videos, blogs, and lots of other useful information there for your enjoyment. You can also visit our YouTube channel, the Astro Guy Podcast, for past episodes and other surprises. Please subscribe. Please consider leaving us a review on your podcast platform. It helps us to get new listeners. Thank you again for listening, and may your skies be clear. As always, Carpe Noctem, seize the night.
I'm Wayne Zool, and this was the Astro Guy Podcast. Thank you for listening. As always, your questions, comments, and suggestions are welcome. Keep wondering. Keep your eyes on the sky. Have fun. Carpe Noctem. Seize the night.